Mr.
Bond.
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 Bond. James Bond.
Oh, I never thought that title would end then. Hello everyone. How are we all? I think Mike is frozen.
I have actually.
What's going on? Mike is frozen. I don't know what's happening.
I'll be 2 seconds.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Chris?
I can hear you. We can hear you, mate. We can hear you. You just look really intense.
Right.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled cat video watching to bring you some breaking Bond news. And this Bond news is who the new director of the next Bond movie is going to be. So, hello and welcome to another Ultimate Bondcast. This is kind of an unscheduled video that we didn't think we were going to be making. We'd only just seen news drop of... sorry, Mike, I will introduce you. I just thought maybe you were still trying to make your way out of the void.
It's very
say
strange.
Hello?
My computer has just reacted really crazy. So, as Chris said, unscheduled broadcasts. So, yes, whatever, mate.
Madness.
I'm not sure if my camera is going to work today, if I'm being honest.
Tell you what, if I introduce what's going on, do you want to try and log out and log back in?
Yeah, I'm going to reset and I'm going to come straight back to you.
All right, no worries. I will vamp as best I can. So, everyone, the news is that Denis Villeneuve, the French-Canadian director, has... hey! How are you? You're right. Right, I will scrap what I was going to say. I was just about to talk about Denis Villeneuve, but I'm more interested in how you are, mate.
I'm very well, thank you. I am aware, Chris, that we're on the wrong side of the
let's
screen.
sort that out. It's like out on deck. We've got to be on the same side.
It doesn't. It's like being on the wrong side of the bed. It doesn't make any sense, Chris.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't at all.
So, apologies for the technicality, guys, but as I said, it's an unscheduled broadcast. I won't see you thunder, Chris. Rock and roll, mate. Rock and roll.
Yeah, no. All I was doing, basically, Mike, was just saying how we didn't really think this news was going to drop. We'd only just sort of heard who the new frontrunners were.
Yeah.
And here we are. Denis Villeneuve is announced officially as the new director for Bond 26. What do you feel about that?
Do you know what? Right, now, I know this guy's movies, but until I did a bit of filmography, I didn't know him. So initially, my first impression was, who?
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know the name. And that's probably a shocking concept to most people.
No, I think it is with people behind the scenes. Not everyone does. You know his movies, though, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's what we have to go into. We'll do his filmography in a bit, but the reality is, he has got a relatively credible, sort of filmography, directing. What's the word? Directingography? Should we call it that? Cinematography?
Yeah,
what's the word?
It's a filmography. It's his CV, and I mean, I think his CV looks incredible. I am really impressed myself. But what we'll do first is we're just going to look at the quote that Denis has been quoted as saying, and it does kind of give a little bit of an insight into what we might expect.
Okay.
So basically what he said is that some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father ever since Dr. No with Sean Connery. I'm a die-hard Bond fan. To me, sacred territory. I intend to honour the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honour. Amy, David and I are absolutely thrilled to bring him back to the screen. Thank you to Amazon MGM Studios for their trust. And just to say, Amy and David are Amy Pascal and David Heyman, who were announced as the producers of the new Bond movie about a month ago or so.
Who have also got a very good background to them in terms of recent cinema history. So I think Amy in particular, she was in a lot of the previous Daniel Craig films, I believe, as well. So
she was, and she also ran Sony Pictures. So all of the Sony Spider-Man movies, the Spider-Verse, whatever you think of that. And David Heyman worked on Harry Potter, was it? They've got a good pedigree.
Yeah, and I think what you need to take from this, the fact that the reality is Amazon are going to have to make a mark, but they're going to have to take a daring choice. They either go completely alien, this is our Bond, to hell with the history, or at the risk of alienating fans, or they go a little bit cliche, a bit true to tradition. And I think it's a daring move for the director. Not necessarily a bad one, but I think there's a daring move, and that probably gives you some indication of where they might have their headspace at, you know?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think I'm gonna be honest. I think he's a fantastic director, and I honestly think that if Amazon MGM wanted to make a statement, then what a statement they're making, short of cutting somebody that everybody wants. This is one of the most lauded directors in the world, and a director that makes what I consider to be like thinking man's sort of mainstream movies. Like he makes movies that are of excellent quality, as well as having elements of action in them and being big budget. He knows what he's doing with budgets, and they're very much his vision as well.
Speaking of which, actually, what we'll do, we'll make a bit of room on the screen, and we'll do a bit of filmography with him, shall we? And let's have a look what he's done previously and why we think that. So let me just bring this up, guys. Let's have a little looky. So, okay, right. So most recently, we know the Dune movies, and for what it's worth, I've enjoyed both wonderfully. So that's definitely a feather in his cap, I think, as far as I'm concerned. And that's his, obviously, the most up-to-date entry in the world of cinema. Arrival. Now that's an interesting one. I remember. Do you remember Arrival with Jeremy Renner? It was the
really enjoyed Arrival.
The alien one. So he's clearly got. I mean, I think there's a bit of synergy between Dune and Arrival in the way that their tone is. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. They're sci-fi with and are really grand in scope without sort of leaning on the tropes that sci-fi brings. You know, he's very, very, like I said before, very much sort of a singular vision in his movies.
Where he's got this actual Bond synergy, I think now is where we're looking at, Sicario, for example.
Sicario was the movie I was thinking of. Very gritty, realistic sort of movie.
Hopefully, I mean, because we've had gritty, haven't we, with Daniel Craig most of the way through his tenure, but hopefully that's the indication of his action level. But I don't want it to be too cold. I'd like to have a bit of humour. No. A bit like, do you remember Jason Statham, Crack? A bit like that. You know, there's a quip in there, but the action's amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know whether I can say what his tone's going to be like. I feel like he's made so many different movies. I think that's the good thing about Denis Villeneuve's filmography, is that it's not like 8 horror movies and all of a sudden you're going, hang on a minute, how's this guy going to direct a Bond movie?
I mean, I think the most questionable Bond director we've had in recent history, if I'm being honest, was probably Mark Forster when he did Quantum of Solace, because he was not historically known as an action director. He was very arty, theatrical. It wasn't action orientated. And when it came out almost like a Bourne movie, I think it kind of blew people away that wasn't what they were expecting. So maybe that's where we're going wrong with Denis. You know, it could be an indication.
I think so. I think the Daniel Craig movies kind of show that they're the kind of directors that they like to go for. I mean, other than Martin Campbell, who was kind of like Bond bread and butter.
Bond, he's an introducer, isn't he? He's an introducer Bond director.
He is, and he would have been my pick for this, but that's beside the point now. You know, they go for those kind of auteur, directors that lean heavily into drama as opposed to action. So like Mark Forster and Sam Mendes and Fukunaga as well for No Time to Die. They're all those same kind of, directors that have that build character pieces as opposed to build action set pieces, or are known for that.
I suppose if there was such a thing as creating a genre of directors, they do these movies, these people do these movies. Yeah. Yes, you could probably put them into a category, and stuff like that. What was an interesting entry here, though, Chris, was Blade Runner.
God, I love Blade Runner 2049.
Which also
what a movie.
Gives you some action vibe, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, it does. It does. A very, very good film noir kind of movie. But you see, the thing about Blade Runner 2049 that I think is really important is that he was very good at honoring the original source material. He knew exactly how to replicate the original Blade Runner in a sequel. And if he's got that kind of like love and reverence for a property, like he did for Blade Runner. I think he will absolutely try and keep the same tone from Bond, from whatever Bond he wants, but Bond, he will keep that tone, is basically what I'm saying.
Interesting thought. So you just said the exact words there, that he's good at doing an older movie in a new frame, so to speak. So does that add weight to the fact that we might have a timepiece Bond, as in 1950s, 1960s, that sort of... Do you know what I mean? I know we discussed it before as possible speculation, but it seems to add a little bit of weight to the argument, don't you think?
I think it might. Definitely. I think one thing's really clear is that he will probably want a lot of input into the story. I think he's definitely not brought in as a hired gun where they give him a script and tell him to shoot it. I think he will want to be heavily involved in the script. And I also think it probably means throw out all of your bets for who the next Bond is, because I think Denis Villeneuve will probably want to be involved in that casting choice as well.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually find, and it's totally escaped my bloody head who the guy was, but the young lad that's the lead runner in Dune, I saw a ridiculous headline that he might
Timothy
be Bond.
Chalamet.
Yeah, and I'm
No,
like,
thank
okay. The comment was like, I think it's been put on like Facebook. It was like, yeah, maybe when he grows some pubes, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, you're not wrong, but do you go there? You know,
he's worked with some Bond villains before as well, hasn't he? Because Javier Bardem's in Dune, isn't he?
Of course, I think he is. Yes, he is. He's one of the sort of psychotic guys, isn't he?
And
all that.
Benicio del Toro was in Sicario. I'm starting to wonder if Javier Bardem was then now. It's been ages since I've seen it. But anyway.
I think like what we said before, nothing's off the table with this. And it does actually add a lot of speculation. I'm sure other podcasts, other Bond channels are going to do their own take on this. But I think what we can deduce from this, Chris, is the fact that there's definitely going to be something quite drastic when Bond 26 reveals a title, an actor. And I have heard another story recently that they aren't going to cast the actor until they've got the movie right. So as in the script, the storyline, all that lot. So maybe they haven't got a Bond, or maybe that's a red herring.
Maybe. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe. The thing is, I'm not even worried now. Like whoever the next Bond is, this guy's a lifelong Bond fan, and I think he'll pick the right person for his movie. But I think I just wanted to you on that quote. There's one line that's my favorite line in it, basically, and it's, "I intend to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come." So he knows his job. He knows that he's here to springboard a new Bond. His job is to set the scene.
But he said that lay tribute to tradition or whatever it was. That's encouraging.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything that's too, I mean, basically, we're going to hate it, aren't we? If Bond comes out in 26 and there's no tuxedos, there's no Aston Martins, there's no vodka martinis, no war for PPK. You just want the typical traditions that have to remain. I mean, will there be a gun barrel opening? I hope so.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it needs to be. It needs to be like super. It needs to be. I've said to you before, like I want a super cookie cutter Bond. I want all of the tropes, and I want it in an exact. I want it to be exactly 2 hours long. I do not want a 2 hour 50-minute Bond movie.
No, and I don't need to know how he became Bond either. I just want to see Bond. Even if he's sipping cocktails on the beach for 15 minutes, I'll take that. To be honest,
it might be one of my favorite movies, but I don't want him crying in a shower.
Yeah, I think what we can do is that if we've been to that territory and we enjoyed it, but we need to go somewhere else now. We know that we've always said Bond films are a creature of their time, aren't they? They're time capsules, they're relevant, and that was incredibly relevant back in 2006 in the state of the world was. I think with the state of the world being quite scary now, Chris, I think we need a bit of light-heartedness, and
I think so too.
I think the tone with Henry Cavill, the war over gentleman warfare, whatever it's called, that's the tone. That's where we need to be.
I wouldn't hate that. So I tell you what, we're also going to look at is Amy Pascal and David Heyman have also commented on this, along with the head of Prime Video. Mike Hopkins. So they've also said a little bit. So we'll just have a look at what they've had to say as well. So Mike Hopkins first, so the head of Prime Video and Amazon MGM. He said, "We're honoured that Denis has agreed to direct James Bond's next chapter. He's a cinematic master whose filmography speaks for itself. From Blade Runner 2049 to Arrival to the Dune films, he has delivered compelling worlds, dynamic visuals, complex characters, and most importantly, the immersive storytelling that global audiences yearn to experience in theatres. James Bond is in the hands of one of today's greatest filmmakers, and we cannot wait to get started on 007's next adventure." So, everything we've just said, isn't it?
That's encouraging in every way. I think when they were cast as the producers, apologies, there was a lot of confidence brought to that because it was the first announcement when Amazon had took over, and I think to hear the acting pedigrees, the worlds these guys evolve into, their movies, that's a lot of comfort. And we're now, I think we're at peace with Amy and the other gentleman there, and then that means now Denis coming as director. I think we should take that with even more confidence.
I completely agree. I think that what people are saying are all the right things, and I guess we expect them to say all the right things. You know, they're not going to employ Denis and then go, we had no other choice. But I will just go. I will just go to what Pascal and Heyman said as well, because we didn't cover that then. But Pascal and Heyman also commented that Denis Villeneuve has been in love with James Bond movies since he was a little boy. It was always his dream to make this movie, and now it's ours too. We're lucky to be in the hands of this extraordinary filmmaker. So nothing new there, but again, echoes all of the same things.
But I think it was the gentleman, it totally escapes my name, I might better Google him, but the one that directed Die Another Day, I think it was a Japanese director, never seen Bond ever. Never did it. And not being funny, whilst Die Another Day had its moments, what was that movie compared to the rest of the series? So the fact that he's a lifelong Bond fan, Denis, bring it on. We've got your back.
I'll tell you who the director was as well. I've got it up right now.
Oh, go on. Who was
Lee Tamahori.
That was the name. But he had never seen a Bond film, which was a total shock. Clearly did it as a money grab, if I'm being honest with you, in that respect, I think.
Sometimes you need to shake it up, though. Sometimes, if you've never seen a Bond film before, you might be able to bring a fresh pair of eyes to it.
Yeah, exactly. And change is good because despite the movies relatively always being the same, it's a constant evolving series, isn't it?
It is.
The formula's the same, but everything changes because when you run for 62 years old, there is going to be changes you have to make to survive the franchise. So I think, should we give a director rating? We've been doing movie ratings. We're going to go out of 10, Chris.
For excitement, I'm a 9 at least. I love the director. I think that we're going to get a banging Bond movie.
Yeah, I'm feeling very confident it's coming. I mean, on the base, I didn't know him as much, and there's a bit of sci-fi in there. And for controversy, because I like to be that as well, I'll go with an 8 out of 10.
A controversial 8 out of 10. One lower than me.
Well, yeah, I think it was used the other
day.
When we're rating our Bond movies, I need to be realistic because we can't have just 9s and 10s everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I'm struggling. With Thunderball. I was like 9, but I'm like, no, it really shouldn't be a 9.
Yeah, but drop in the comments, guys. Let us know, what do you think of the director casting? Are you for it? Are you incredibly worried? Or are you optimistic and open-minded? We really don't care. It's just good to know what you guys are thinking at the moment.
I'm excited. I think there's more to come, isn't there? This is just like the first piece of news, the first part of that snowball that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we just need to see what comes next.
I think the role we've had, don't forget, Amazon to the producers to the new Bond game, now suddenly the new director. There is so much they know, they're just not revealing yet. This isn't being winged. They are planning how to release this information to us. And for me, personally, I'm loving it.
As am I. I think that's a really good place to end it. So, as we said before, drop down in the comments. Let us know what you think of this Bond news, because that's the most important thing. We want to know what you guys think of this director news. And please just keep subscribing, liking our videos. The subscribing really helps us. Please drop onto our Facebook page as well and give us a follow there. That's incredibly helpful as well. Mike, I
Indeed.
don't know if there's anything else you want to plug before we
Yeah,
go.
couple of things, guys. I'll just say, jump on the Facebook page, join our 007 Bond car poll
Oh,
because
yeah.
your results are looking pretty good. We've got about 150 votes from within a week, which we're really pleased at. So
Nice.
keep voting. I might mix it up and chuck a few more in there, a few more curveballs. But yeah, keep putting the notes in there.
Mr. Controversial has also removed the DB5 as well. So you can't
Well,
pick the DB5. It's got to be a different car.
it was going to win. So
Of course it would. It would have.
We need to make sure there will be some honourable mentions in the podcast. That comes a little bit later in July from there. And finally, just make sure you join us the same time, 6 p.m. GMT on Friday coming up. We're on part 2 of From Russia with Love on the PS2. So I hope you can join me for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, and if you're watching this further in the future than Friday coming up, it came out last Friday, so It's already out. Go and check it out.
It's up next.
Or it's up next. Yeah, it's out tomorrow. Who knows when you're watching it? We'll have to see. But yeah, no, that's been great. I've really enjoyed this. I'm excited, really excited. Denis Villeneuve. It's great news.
Bring on the future. That's what I say.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's only one left thing. One thing. Oh, ruined it. Oh,
God. Are you hot? Is that what it is?
I am hot, full of hay fever. There's only one thing left to say. You've been watching the Bondcast.
The ultimate Bondcast.